Okay, hello all, welcome to this webinar. So today we'll just walk you through like what are the overview and the capabilities of operations module of Cloud ALM and how it would be useful for your scenarios that you might have already. So first thing we'll see is why we really need Cloud ALM operations kind of a tool. What does it bring in? So today, all the business operations, that's a business processes of any customers, they are run across landscapes, across products. Different products runs different business process from an end-to-end perspective. I mean, for example, if you take a lead to cash, you see it as an end-to-end process, but then internally these processes are subdivided into multiple areas and they run on an hybrid landscape, hybrid products. So the idea is to have a view of your business process and also for the business continuity perspective, bring in a single view of monitoring for your business operations so that you could identify the issues proactively. So that's the whole idea of why we have a Cloud ALM for operations, despite we have monitoring capabilities in cloud for different products, the standalone products. Um, So the idea is to have a full stack single view monitoring that covers your end-to-end business processes. So when I say processes, it's from technical and as well as the business KPIs perspective, your integrations, your users itself who are using that processes, then jobs that runs to automate these processes, and the health of your cloud solution itself. So as I said, we call the process as detect to correct. So we detect proactively even before an event can happen in which will impact your business operations. So the goal is to provide a business continuity uh, along with monitoring capabilities, which will result in increasing the efficiency of your operational task. Means you don't have to put in people to sit and monitor your solutions. So any problem needs to be detected first, then problem needs to be routed to a proper channel, and then you have to do a problem resolution. So problem detection area, what Cloud ALM for operation brings is there are different sets of tools. We'll see the use case just about like business process monitoring, ICM integration and exception monitoring, real user monitoring, synthetic user monitoring, JM, that's the job and automation monitoring, configuration and security analysis, and then health monitoring. So these are the different tools or functionalities available within Cloud ALM that will help you to detect a problem. And then you will have a problem routing, which is IEP, Intelligent Event Processing. So based on certain rule sets, events, so it will route it to a proper resolution. So that would be your alert management, whether you have set up something to be alerted. So it will process the data into the alert management perspective or notification management, or you have a dashboard built out where your NOC team, network operation control center, sits and monitors your systems. So data could be passed to that as well, or you could also do a process automation. So like connect it with any third party service desk that you have, so that issue or event, whenever it happens, a proper incident is created and routed to your other stakeholders. So that's how Cloud ALM for operations helps in a problem detection, problem routing, and problem resolution areas. So we call this as detect to correct. So we detect, and we also provide, the tools also provide you a way to correct it, like up until the logs, like what went wrong. So use cases for these different areas, like business process monitoring, how, where do we use it? So we basically use this to monitor your end-to-end business operations that runs on both the cloud and on-prem systems with predefined KPIs, wherein it will allow you to visualize your process end-to-end and identify the issues where these KPIs have been set up. Like for example, you have a sales order you're creating, but then there is a volume backlog of sales orders. So this KPI will help you to identify that. Or you have a integration that where your purchase order purchase requisition is created in your Ariba system, and then your purchase order is processed in your S4 material management. So that disruption, if there's any IDOC processing or CPI integrations that you have, any of those disruptions can also be identified. Or you have jobs automated in your S4 environment, where which will do your auto processing of your business, certain business operations, which is critical for from your end-to-end perspective. So that could also be monitored for any disruptions, like cancellations happened, or the runtime is more, was there any technical issues. So all those things can be clubbed together and have a single view, visualize it from your business process perspective. And then you have your integration and exception monitoring perspective. So this will help you to monitor all the messages that flows between different systems through integration. Uh, so from business process monitoring, you could do this, but then if you have a standalone processes, or you have a team who is monitoring all the critical interfaces and exceptions that happens between the systems, then this will provide you a better solution. So again, this combines both your cloud and only hybrid scenarios, where like you have on-prem and cloud solutions for your to run your business processes. And then the real user monitoring. So this is kind of a reactive kind of a monitoring, but where you do analysis of user issues where there's performance or usage related data. So if you have an application and users start saying, okay, the performance of the application is really bad, so some of those feedbacks could be analyzed here. RCA can be done to identify where is the lagging, whether it's a server side processing, or the database is taking more of a time to process your application calls. So those kind of things can be done per user based, so real user based. And then you have synthetic user monitoring. So this is kind of you will script or simulate an user activity. So this is kind of a proactive way of identifying an issue even before an user starts complaining that he is not able to do certain activity within a process. So what we do here is we script the entire business process. Like let's say you have a leave application from success factors, where you want to monitor that the users are not affected, or a travel expense kind of a thing. So we simulate or we record the activity of the user, like how a user logs in, gets into the leave application, puts in his data, requests it and submits it. So that is scripted, and that is deployed on the cloud ALM agents. And then this script gets executed automatically, so that even before an user complains that is having an issue in posting his leave applications, so this monitoring will help you to identify those details. So this is kind of a proactive. So here we do performance and also availability of that particular application itself. And then we have job and automation monitoring. So predominantly you would have used a lot of automation processes in your business operations, which will be run mass in a batch jobs. So those jobs, those critical batch jobs can be monitored using this solution. It will provide you even the log details of the job itself. Like you don't have to go into an S4 system to see what actually happened to this job, what is the exception within that log. So those data are also available for you on a single visualization platform. From there, you can do your analysis, like why, what happened. This also provides not only the status-based monitoring of the jobs, but also the performance, the runtime of your jobs. Like let's say a job was supposed to run only 5 or 10 seconds to process a file, but it is taking almost like 1 or 2 hours. And then you can see the historical trend of it, like why, what is happening, and correlate that with any of your performance issues within your system itself. So that will help you to remove the bottlenecks, identify what it is, and do a process optimization. And then you have configuration and security analysis. So this is basically also an RCA kind of a thing, but from the security analysis perspective, you can have a template, standard templates created, and run that against your solutions to identify if some violation has happened. So if you have a security policy, say I don't want users having SAP all, so that can be made as a template, and this template is run against your system, against the users, and then periodical evaluation can happen if there is a violation of it. Then configuration analysis is like it's also acts as an RCA. Let's say there was a change of parameter at your operating system level, or an application parameter was changed, but you never knew this, but the impact is on some day that you want to go and see like what actually changed in which layer, which transport went in which time. Were there any parameter changes happened on the configuration side of the technical system? So those can be done in CSA, that's configuration and security analysis. So it runs on a predefined stores delivered from SAP. The data is collected based on these stores, and then evaluation is done based on the configuration. Then you have health monitoring. So all the above that we saw, it particularly helps you to run your business operations itself, like to identify any issues, bottlenecks running as part of your business operations. Health monitoring gives you a solution where you can monitor your cloud service health itself, like how is my cloud system, like SuccessFactors, Ariba, or cloud ALM itself, how it is performing, what is the consumption of my memory, what is the storage that is there, and where is the bottleneck. So those things can be identified using your health monitoring. So all your cloud services and systems that is provided by SAP are supported here. So you can monitor all of those solutions. If you are a pure cloud customer running multiple cloud solutions, you can use this as a central platform to monitor all of your cloud solutions, rather than going into C4C and separately seeing what is the health of my system, or Ariba or SuccessFactor. So these are pretty much the use cases that goes in. And then we have some of integration capabilities, like as I said, like process automation, operation automation. So that would be like you can have an email notification going out to your stakeholders who is responsible for a certain operations in your business for which an event has occurred, like sales order failed or an interface has failed, send it to an integration team. So those can be done. And tickets integration, you could integrate to your ServiceNow if you have, or MS Teams for chart based integration, or Jira system, or any external ticketing tool for that matter, like where you want to create a incident for the event that has happened. And then you have your analytics data. So all the monitoring data that is collected or available on a raw format, and you could connect it to any of your analytics, like for example SAP Cloud Analytics, SAC. You could connect it there, and then have your dashboards built for reviews, or for a NOC team to view like what is happening from a real perspective. Okay? And then you have your operations flows, which means you could integrate it with SAP process integration on cloud to automate certain tasks. So let's say you have a job. If it fails, you know that rerunning that would be successful. So that kind of operational flows could also be put in place so that automatically the tasks are getting executed. So kind of a guided procedure, what needs to be done. So those are the outbound integration that is available. And then obviously the inbound that I already mentioned, like you will have metrics, you have config items, logs, events, and alerts being collected from different solutions, consumed by the problem detection areas that we have, like business process monitoring and those tools, then processed by a problem routing, and then done with your problem resolution, like which way you want to go. Yeah, alerts or notification, or you have an analytics or an operation automation kind of thing. So then what are the products that are supported today by Cloud ALM for operations? So all those mentioned under greens are available today. So business process monitoring, you could use your S4 cloud and public cloud, both of them. And then S4 HANA on-prem and SAP Business Suite, your current ERP environments can also be used. And you have your success factor, that's cloud for customer things. And then the planned ones are Ariba enhancements are planned, and then Business Suite and HXCM suite for human resources processes on success factor. So that's currently being planned by SAP. Then you have ICM integration and exception monitoring. So as I said, this supports hybrid. So you could do your on-prem as well as your cloud solutions. So you have pretty much your S4 cloud on public and private clouds. Then you have on-prem S4 HANA and your business suite solutions. Marketing Cloud, Cloud for Customers, that's your C4C, IBP, Business by Design, OMF, Success Factors, Consumer Industries, Ariba, Concur, Field Glass, IAM, then Field Service Management if you're running your vendor management, then Life Science Cloud, uh, etc. And then you have your process integration, that's your any PO system that exists today on on-prem or your integration suite. If you're migrated already, then you have your MDI, data intelligence analytics, and your PaaS systems on BTP if you have anything. So any applications that you have deployed on BTP PaaS as well, or that runs on Java. And then the planned ones are the supplier lifecycle management module in Ariba that is being planned. Then you have edge integration cell, DMC, cloud for projects. That's your PPM module on cloud. So that's being planned. Event broker, and then BTP Cloud Foundry is a Node.js applications if you have on Cloud Foundry. So that is also being planned. And then from user and performance monitoring, that's real user and synthetic monitoring. So again, you have both of your cloud, private and public cloud supported. Then you have your on-prem S4 and business suite. Then you have C4C, if you have commerce, that's marketing cloud, IBP, success factor, EC payroll area, employee payroll. And then you have DQM, BTP again, ABAP Pass, and Java Node, and analytics. So SAP SAC, that is also being planned for you to support, so that anything that is running on your cloud, so cloud analytics, that could also be simulated and monitored, like user accessing some dashboards, data, and all those things if they are facing any issues on analytics cloud. Then you have job and automation monitoring, again, S4 Cloud on-prem and business suite. IBP, you have business workflow management, that's automated workflow management system. Then EC payroll, business warehouse, your BW systems where you can monitor your process chains. And then BTP ABAP on PaaS, RPA if you have, then build PA, and again BTP Cloud Foundry PaaS Java solutions. Cloud Foundry BTP Node.js is being planned, and build PA workflows. That's currently jobs are supported, but then workflows are also being done. Then the resource management part, that product is also going to come in. C&SA, that's a configuration and security analysis. You have limited products available here. So that's your S4 on private cloud, your S4 on-prem, and then your business suite on-prem, your current. So cloud is being planned, BTP Cloud Foundry is being planned, and then HANA on cloud is also being planned. Health monitoring. So currently, apart from SAP Edge Integration Cell solutions, all the other cloud services provided by SAPs are supported for health monitoring through Cloud ALM. So if we go deep dive, like exact use cases of what KPI categories are available for each of these areas. So the scope of BPI, the business process monitoring, is currently lead to cash process, source to pay, design to operate, and recruit to retire. Lead to cash is your billing kind of a process that you have. And then you have source to pay is your Ariba, where you source and then you purchase, you requisition process, and then pay it through your S4. Design to operate, and then recruit to retire is your HR process. So we predominantly have four categories of KPIs provided by SAP, predefined currently for BPI area. So you could have throughput. Throughput is like if you want to see the volumes of or quantity of how many which process you're currently using and how many documents are getting posted. So to identify why these many number of documents are being posted, is there any issues in those throughput areas? So if you expect, if you have a, let's say you have a material management a warehouse, 10 warehouses, and you expect 10 or 20 purchase requisitions coming in a day or a month, but then you seemingly alarmingly see like you are getting 50 to 100 requests in a month. So this throughput can be used to evaluate that. And then backlog is like each of the documents, the business documents that gets posted in your business operations, you will have a date of or a due date kind of a thing. So if you want to monitor the backlogs, whatever has crossed those due dates, you could use the backlog KPIs. Then lead time is you have a sales happened, you have a sales item created, and from there the endpoint is posting an invoice to the customer to get the cash back. So you want to analyze like how long sales item is created and then invoice generation is taking time, which will directly have impact on the monetary wise, like how much money your company is going to get back. Or you have a approval process which says like, okay, my purchase requisition needs to be approved for my purchase order to be generated so that I can place a material order. So if the approval is taking time, you could use the lead time to evaluate like how long an approval is being taken in which area, how we could improve in those areas so that your PR is getting converted into a PO so that materials are procured at right price at right time and then provided for your manufacturing or sourcing. Then you have exceptions like, let's say you have a warehouse. I've taken a warehouse example. So you're trying to move or receive a goods, but everything is done, and then you post a goods movement so that your warehouse can accept the goods. So that is failing. uh, and you want to identify like how many of these goods movements have failed, so that though you have your goods in your warehouse, you're not able to deliver it to the manufacturing unit because you don't have a goods receipt generated because of a failed good movement. So that could also be identified using your exception KPIs. Then automation rate, uh, like in your business process, you might have let's say a purchase requisition approved and then a purchase order is automatically created. In many cases, you want to monitor whether this automation rate is fine. Due to many reasons, the post approval, the PO creation could have failed, so manually they would have created a purchase order. So if you want to monitor where is my lagging in my automation process, so you could basically use this KPI category to monitor from your end-to-end perspective. So let's move to integration and exception monitoring. So as I said, you will have an end-to-end monitoring correlating each of the messages passed across your current solutions that you have. So let's say you have an on-premise for, and then you have a CI cloud integration, which integrates your cloud um, solutions with your on-prem system, so that you could have an end-to-end monitoring um, based on your messages flow. So, and also related exceptions of that message flows can also be monitored using ICM. Real user experience monitoring, as I mentioned, we predominantly this collects backend measurements, like you have a browser or a mobile device where your apps are hosted. Sorry, your apps are hosted, and then you have cloud services, different types of cloud services, which is going to provide you that data. So each of this interaction between the backend that can be collaborated with the user and then monitored using the user and performance experience monitoring as a single view. So you could see how long an HTTP or HTTPS request is taking, how long an RFC, that's remote function module call, for fetching a data from your S4 system from a front end is taking, how long a database or an execution or a query has taken during a dialog process, or how long a web service is taken. So you might have a homegrown application which directly using a web service connects to SAP to retrieve the data. So that web service can also be looked into. So different slices, you could see where the performance degradation happens, and then you could concentrate on the RCA of that from a user perspective. And then you have synthetic user monitoring. As I said, it's proactive, and then it's a factual metrics, because these scripts are executed lot of time. Let's say you have a script scheduled to be executed every minute, so you will have factual metric collaboration of data where it is being collected consistently across a time frame, so that you will have comparable metrics to evaluate like where what is going wrong. Yeah. So a pretty good example is, you have a web application where you want to monitor the availability of it. So users are trying to access this, but this is not available for you. So you could for the user, so you could predetermine or proactively detect if this application will be available for the user or not using the script. So this script runs, executes or hits the application and sees whether it's available for the usage. And then obviously performance, so when the clicks that you're going to do within that particular web application will also be recorded for performance evaluation. So all these are executed, they're collected back, and then you can collaborate it in Cloud ALM to see what is happening for this particular area. And then obviously you have job and automation monitoring. You have multiple automations running on different cloud services as well as your on-prem services. So that could also be monitored. So what you could do is you could monitor the execution status of the jobs, the application status, whether there's any start or response time delays for any job or task. Maybe you have a time critical job that needs to run at 2 a.m. every day, but it has not started. So due to this, you have a bigger impact on your business operations. So that could also be monitored. So details of the job are executed, like logs, can be retrieved for different levels of root cause analysis. And then you have configuration. You will have historical data of execution, how this job has performed over a period of time, what was the expected runtime and how far it has gone, where it needs to be improved. So those kind of historical data is available because the same job is being monitored every day in and day out, and data is being collected. And then from the IEP, so this is kind of a processor. If we collaborated with our computers, so it collects different sets of data, it processes those data, and it sends it to different applications within Cloud ALM to process that particular data, whether you have alerts that needs to be sent, so it processes it to the alert management, or you have set up an email notification that needs to be sent, so it processes it to the notification management area, or even operation automations where you use your BTP workflow management, or you have an RPA script, or you have automation pilot kind of a thing where you want to automate the response to this particular event. And then different type of monitoring use cases you can combine, or BSM, that's a business service management, to evaluate how far your business continuity is there, how far these services that you provide for your customers is available, or any outbound integration for your tickets or tasks, as we mentioned. Yeah. So quickly I'll walk you through our system to showcase how real time how it looks. We have some set up some data, so I can show you that. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So for time being, I've already logged into our environment, and then I've logged into a job and automation monitoring to see. So here we are monitoring our S4 system. So I put it on favorite. So all your systems would be available here, like whatever you have set it up. Um, just refresh it. Then we'll also walk you through the real user monitoring use cases that we have already running for our system for demo purpose. Yeah. So I'll just quickly go. So here you'll have three types of categories, like for a job. This is our on-prem system. You'll have, if there's any technical exceptions that has occurred in your job, or application exceptions, or you have a runtime exceptions. So just to go in, if you click on that particular system of monitoring, then you will get all those jobs that is being executed in that particular system, and you will have different metrics. So this is your execution status, like whether it's successful or failed. This is your application status within the job. You have many steps. Then whether there was a delay in start, or the runtime is huge. So, or if there is any open alert for this particular job. So if you click on a particular job of your interest, you could see how many times in a day these has run. and what is the delay of run and what is the runtime of that particular job, that can be seen. And let's say, for example, you have a delay in a particular job or a runtime is more. So let's go in this, and you want to analyze that this was the executable, it was finished, but the runtime was this. And then if you click on the information button, it will give you the data. That's what is the runtime, what is the metrics that we have if you have set up already. And then you can go into the exceptions if you have any technical exceptions. So let's say the job was aborted. Let's take this. So you will have a neat dashboard that will give you a view like what were the exceptions that has happened for a particular job. So this particular job was failed because there was an authorization issue. So authorization did not exist, or any other thing. So you could see the job log here, like what exactly happened. So there's no authorization. You don't have to go to the backend system to pull this data. You can see it here. You can pretty much download it and send it to the people who are the stakeholders who can resolve this issue. Or you also have analysis area where you could see analysis like for each jobs, like what were the highest number of executing jobs. You can pick that and then see what is the rate of execution, what is the runtime of it, or if you want to consider the highest runtime jobs to see like why this is taking so much of time and which particular run it has taken time. So those kind of evaluations you can take, and you could see there was no failures for this job, and then the execution was also okay, but then the runtime suddenly fell, probably the system was down here. Yeah. And then you also have alerting area where you could pretty much configure, see what are the alerts that you would have configured. Currently we don't have any alerts. If you would have configured any alert using alert management, then the alert name would be available here. And what is the rating, what is the current status, and what if there's any processor that is working on it. So those kind of details can be seen here. This is job monitoring. So we'll quickly move to real user experience monitoring. So it will give you system wise. So I've just marked. So this is also this is our solution manager system itself, where we want to show you like how it looks. So this is action has happened already, and this is the request name. So let's say user complaints, like whenever I'm trying to execute a report in the S4 system, it is pretty bad and it is taking more time. So so you can go there and then see what action he has performed from web application. So there was one user. Then if you go further down, you could see like at for at a certain period of time the response time was too high, the net time was also high. So you click further on that to see what has actually happened in between the calls, like within that, how many calls has happened, which call is taking the particular time. So you can see this is the application, the user has come into the application, and this is the different types of calls that is happening within the application. And then you could see where it is taking more time, so it has consumed 82% of time here. And then yeah, so here, and then you could also see the details like what was the user who was using this, and what was the transaction and other things to correlate it between. And these particular call has also made uh, an RFC call is being done, calling a different program. So you could also visualize like why it has taken time, and then you could deep dive into your analysis part to see what are the different types of requests, average execution. So let's say this application was, or this application ran only 6 times, but the average response time is too much. So you could take that as a candidate for analysis. And then these are multiple analysis way, where what are the front end consumption of a time, what is the OS and browser time that is being taken. So you could also see this. And then you have backend. So what was the for the performance kind, like what was HTTP time? There was peak of HTTPS time at particular hour on a day. So you could analyze like what exact user action was there at this particular time, which triggered high number of HTTP responses. And then from services and system perspective, if you want to monitor, you could see, okay, from this system dialog, the bad performance too, but generally the system is okay. Yeah. And then if you want to see like what is the bad one, then you will see like there was some session that was happening. And then from user perspective, like if you want to dig deep dive or a particular user, if you want to monitor, you could do this. So let's say Tina is having an issue, so I know which operating system she was using to access the application, from which browser she came, and what was the device type. uh, for me to know like how many users are coming in, what type of devices, what type of browser this user is using to access the application. And then we don't have the execution flow data. Then you could see expensive requests if you have. We currently don't have anything. And then HTTP errors. So each services, what type of HTTP errors at which time frame you have. So you could pretty much download this and share it with or take it to a meeting, your CTO meeting, where you could discuss on the performance of things. So this is real user experience monitoring, and then job monitoring is what we wanted to show you as part of our demo. So if there's any questions, probably we can take that. So that's the overall capability and overview of cloud operations solutions that is available. So we are open to any questions, like happy to answer if you have any.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much, Dilip. If there were any questions, we've been able to answer them on the chat here. So thank you so much, everyone. If you do have any questions, you can reach out to us at info@corealm.com. Thanks so much.